guys, how's everybody doing today? It's September 30th, and my name is Dan Harrison. I'm your host. This is NuPath Live, and this is the time each week that we connect and talk to people and give you updates and try to stay connected with what's going on with NuPath in our community and all the craziness around us that is called life, I guess. And right now, life has got us thinking about vaccines and vaccines and vaccines. I had an experience walking into the building this morning, and I was greeted by Ms. Heather Gramstorff. She was at the back door. It's the main door now that we're using to enter. And as I was taking my temperature and everything, she said, "Stan, look, look." And she, ladies and gentlemen, she got the Pfizer booster. I'm surprised the quality from my phone was that good that could zoom in that far. So people are getting the boosters all around. I was on the phone with John Rossi, our general counsel, this morning on my way in earlier, and he told me that he'd gotten his booster. I haven't yet, but we'll be doing so when I think we qualify now. So to all of you who are vaccinated and getting your boosters, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're helping us all stay safe. So let's take a look at where things stand today. We've been looking at the vaccine rates for the organization. Oh yeah. Before we do that though, let's. I wanted to just mention one other thing. 2 weeks ago, we talked to James Bordeaux. He was program manager at Salem Street, and James was not vaccinated at the time. He said he was afraid of needles. He had put it off, but then he'd had the experience of having a friend's sister who was just around 50 die the previous week from COVID, and that, and I think the bonus had something to do with it too. But he said he was going to get vaccinated. I'm pleased to report, ladies and gentlemen, that I heard from Sharon Pitts that he has gotten his first vaccine, and she thought that I'd like to know, and I did want to know because I needed to know that he'd followed through. So thank you, James. It was great to talk to you a couple of weeks ago, and I hope you didn't suffer too greatly from that tiny little needle. Okay, now we're going to move on to look at the vaccine rates for the organization. We're going to start, we're going to break it down by program. So first we're looking at day services. Martin Center is at about 83%. New Boston Street is next, and they are coming in at 91%. And Westford is at 79. And we're going to be talking to the directors of these programs in a couple of minutes just to get some updates on some general things and what's going on the ground. But when we were talking to Brian Calnan from Westford, he thinks that number might be a little higher than that. Maybe just that we've got crossed with vaccine cards and proof and all of that. But we're doing pretty good. I mean, anything 80% and above is feeling good, considering that when we really started looking at this, we were down in the 60s. Residential, I'm very pleased to hear that they are at 80%. That's great. Relief for the organization, these are the people that we get to fill in for vacancies. They're a little lower than I want to see, 69%. Of course, I'm vaccinated, so anything lower than that is no good. Admin at 90, so that is terrific too. And so that gives us for the organization of 81%. We are making progress, guys, and that pleases me a great deal, but time is of the essence, and we are quickly approaching the deadline for the vaccine bonus. So you remember the carrot, the stick, the carrot, the stick. Well, that carrot is the $1,000 bonus. Longer. If any of you have those pesky squirrels or creatures that get into your pumpkins and gourds this time of year, or vegetable gardens, you know that that the fruit and the vegetables are not going to stay around forever. This carrot is going to be gone in a matter of a month. And when we first introduced this a few weeks back, you remember we said that if you are planning on getting the vaccine and you do not, the first dose must be of Moderna, I think, or do I have that backwards again? Must be done by October 3rd. And yes, I guess with Moderna, if you have that, it has to be done by October 3rd, which is Sunday. And if you're getting the Pfizer, you'll have until the following week, October 10th, in order to get your second vaccine by November 1st. But once you've done that, get those 2 doses and get proof of vaccine to HR, no exceptions. We need to see both doses and we need to see your card, and you will qualify. So what's going to happen after that? Well, we will be making our decisions in the near future and communicating that to all of you. The CEO of actually, I don't have that. I'm not going to talk about that now. But many industries are doing this, making the vaccines mandatory, and I think we're going to be seeing more of that, especially as we head into the holiday season. We do not want to expose anybody unnecessarily, and it's just so important that we think of the number of people that continue to die, especially when there's a vaccine available. We're going to take a stand as an organization, and we believe that this is what we have to do to keep everybody safe to the best of our ability. All right, we had a board meeting last week, and we had some of the directors join us via Zoom to talk to us about some of the things that were going on in their program, and I thought it'd be nice to have them on to check in with them. We're going to go to Elder Soares. You guys know Elder. He's not only a Club 50 Dynasty member, but hi, Elder.
Hi, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing really great. Good to see you. You must have been, this is how many appearances has it been for you on NuPath Live? You're a regular.
4 or 5, maybe, yeah.
4 or 5. Oh yeah, that's what I call that a veteran. You are celebrating 12 years with NuPath in November. Is that right? Next month?
It is. That's correct. Yeah.
Did you think 12 years ago that you were ever going to be as old as you are now?
Not at all. I was actually talking about it the other night. I'm like, the age I started at when I was here, I was like, no chance.
Wait to the day you'll have the experience that I had not that long ago when I was asked how long I'd been in the industry, and I was like, 35 years, like almost 35 years. I never thought I was going to be 35 years old. Never mind working one place for 35. It's crazy. But that's what time does. You've been, in those 12 years, been a prolific supporter of NuPath. You've we're over at Passport Studios, director of Stabilization. Now you're working in our Martin Center program. You've raised over $21,000 during your fundraising activities, which is really, really amazing. And now you're there in the Martin Center. So when we looked at the data, we saw that you've got 83%. What's going on over there now as far as clients, staff, numbers back, all of that? You want to give us a real short recap on kind of where you are right now, where things are?
Yeah, I mean, right now we have 65 individuals back that are attending, daily. We have 15 staff who are back. So these are in between, paraprofessionals, developmental specialists. So a split between that are back to the program, and then myself and Rosa and our nursing team here.
So that's 65 people back compared to how many would it have been pre-pandemic? 15 staff. How many pre-pandemic? Do you know that?
Pre-pandemic, the roster was about 87 individuals that are attending. As far as staffing, it was probably around the 25, ballpark area.
Mm-hmm. So you're still, I mean, you still don't have everybody back that you once did have. And the 15 staff that you have back, are there others that you're waiting to bring back, or you're just short that many staff now?
Right now, the ones that are back, these were staff that were here pre-pandemic, and right now we've tapped into all the staff. Some, unfortunately, have decided to stay in residential. So we do have a handful that have shifted over to residential. But other than that, now we're just recruiting, for applicants at this point. We're not waiting on anybody else that was, working here pre-pandemic.
So you're really just like trying to recruit new employees. Um, do you know what you probably do know the staff you have that are unvaccinated? Do you
We
know who
do.
they are?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you think there's any chance that they're going to get vaccinated if it means risk losing their jobs?
Yeah, I mean, I think that eventually, people will come around, and realize that it's the right thing to do, so that we can continue to safely, bring people back. We can keep all of our staff safe. So I think the group that I have will eventually come around and, and decide to get the shot.
So they're willing to forego $1,000 bonus, but they will draw the line at losing their job, maybe.
Yeah, that might be a steep one. Yeah.
I wonder if everybody knows, like, because I don't think these people are going to be. I shouldn't probably say this. I don't know. And we're looking at all the details from a legal perspective, but it's very unlikely these people are going to be eligible for unemployment. And if they, we will vigorously contest if we have anything to say about it, which is not to punish really these people, but if they make that choice, then I'm not sure. I mean, I hate changing jobs. I hate starting a new job, especially if you're making, pretty good money for where you are in the field. But maybe there's just some people that have different opportunities up their sleeves, or I don't know. But um,
And a conversation I had with the staff the other day too is the reality and the way the world is going. Even if you left NuPath because of a mandated vaccine, probably wherever you're going to go look for employment, it's probably going to be in the same boat that it's going to be requiring it, going forward. So it might not just be that easy, just leave one place to go to another.
well, that's just it. And most of our sister organizations across Massachusetts, even those that have not yet made it a mandatory thing, they have changed their policy. They're not hiring anybody without the vaccine. So even if there are people there that are still unvaccinated, new people coming on board are not. Tell me about the families that are sending people. Have you had any express any concerns or doubts about those who may be unvaccinated, or do they seem to be pretty comfortable with how things have been going?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the safety we've put in place and the protocols have really made families feel comfortable about sending their loved ones back. There are still families, who are concerned about maybe individuals who aren't vaccinated or staff who aren't vaccinated that are still hesitant. Obviously, through our triage calls, a lot of the conversation has been around the Delta variant, so families are concerned about that. Some have decided to, keep their loved ones home until the new year, and not send them back, kind of see what happens through the fall
Yeah.
and through the winter. But I think, we're able to also, all the ones that have returned has been a great, showing, of what the proper precautions that are put in place, can really do as far as keeping our cases low and keeping people safe to return back to some sense of a normal and what people were used to. It's huge for our people. They need to come back to programming. They
Yeah,
need
they
to
do.
be involved in what they were used to before COVID as much as possible.
And it's kind of this. We have a program like the Martin Center has been around for quite some time now. Going on, well, maybe not 20 years yet, but the square feet, just even the equipment, the where it's intended to support the program. When we're not at full capacity, it means that we're probably losing money in areas, and for each person that stays home, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, it could be anywhere from 15 to 20 something $1,000 of lost revenue that we would otherwise have budgeted to make, so it does have a major impact. Even though you've got 69 back, you're still, yeah, you're short from where we once were, and we can't get back to how things were back to better until we get this variant kicked back, and the way to do that, I think, is getting people vaccinated so we can go back to raising money and doing our walks and all that. Elder, you're doing a terrific job over there. I know Dan Lannon appreciates it. He says all the time about how glad he is that he's got somebody with your skills. And would you say the staff are liking you?
I hope so. I mean, it's definitely been a great experience, being at New Boston all the years that I, have been over there. So I think it's different, but I've really enjoyed my time here so far.
Yeah, I know you do. And I'll say that whenever I talk to a staff person then from there, they invariably say, "Oh, we love Elder. We're keeping Elder. We love Elder." So you're doing something right. Elder Soares, you're terrific. Thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan. Take care.
All right, take good care. Bye bye. All right. Yes, a real important veteran. Next up, we're going to move up to Westford and to talk to Brian Calnan, who is celebrating 3 years this December. He is, there you are. How are you, Brian?
I'm doing well, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing great. You know, we were talking before, and I just had you were just telling me about some of the people, you know, the frustrations that you've had. You've been working pretty much direct care for the last 3 weeks due to the staffing shortage that we have. And then a number of things, people out on FMLA, somebody's got a kid who is ill with COVID. It's not easy running a big program, is it?
No, it's not, but it's a challenge that I like, and the team we have here is a very good team. We've added, Alexa fairly recently within the last few months, and we really have a good team between Alexa, Stephanie, Joe. We get things done. Justin as well.
So you still have Alexa up there. She's still doing.
She hasn't quit yet.
Yeah. When I saw her up there the last time, we were laughing about that. Her office is at the back. I think there may be a door that leads us out the back way. I'm not sure if it's still there or not.
We try and hide her from the exit so she doesn't leave.
Yeah, well, it's good that you have her, but it's still a hardship. Where are you with numbers and people back and staff and what you need and all of that?
So right now we're 70 people back. Those include the residential homes that we support. And in the program, there's 41 people. So every day in the building, there's 41 people, 6 hours a day. The houses are here for a good chunk of the day, but not full time yet. And as far as staffing, we have 32 staff back. That includes all of management. And we have 7 houses that we support that we have to send 3 staff to each house. So it really limits the number of staff in the building, which is why we've been doing what we're doing.
Some people may not know, but NuPath's model for residential programming for some of our ASD homes it's a little different, but where we do a transition where we have our day staff meet at the residential program in the morning, and then they transition with the people to come into the program. I didn't know this. Dan Landon told me that you have got the biggest number of those mobile no walls groups, if you want to still call it that, of any program in the agency, and more than especially now after we've been through the pandemic. How many groups do you have up there? Did you say the 7, or are there more than that?
So there's 7 residential programs that we support for NuPath, and then we also have 1 additional no walls group that Marissa Van Ryzen is responsible for. So we have 8 of those mobile groups.
Marissa Van Ryzen, who, by the way, is not having to pay for health insurance this year.
She is not.
Because she won our draw for our lottery when we were, or our raffle, we were giving it away. What is the mood and the spirit of your staff and families up there around the pandemic and unvaccinated staff, perhaps? People, have you had families express concern, keep their kids home, not want to send their kids back in? Where do things stand with you?
So most of the concern is really around the Delta variant, and anyone that's keeping their kids home for whatever reason. It's generally the Delta variant, and they want to see how things go through the winter. As far as people being unvaccinated, we only have 1 individual in the program that isn't vaccinated. So all the individuals are on board.
One of our clients that is unvaccinated, right?
Yeah, and it really actually helps. I think the parents feel better about sending their kids here, or the group home sending their residents here. There hasn't been any complaints as far as staff being unvaccinated. Everyone does a real good job wearing their masks and keeping, everything. I'm still sanitizing multiple times every day, keeping things where it needs to be. So we haven't had complaints. I think the biggest hesitation is, well, there's 2 things. There's a delay in transportation, which we're waiting on. And then there's also just really the Delta variant and people having apprehension about that.
Do you have any staff that have expressed concern about working beside somebody that's unvaccinated, or has that come up at all? I know you do a really nice job of building a strong and effective team there, but I'm just curious if you'd had any of that kind of thing.
So they haven't come to me. That doesn't mean it hasn't happened, but I have not heard about it yet. And again, we're really vigilant as far as masks and protective equipment and things like that. So I haven't seen that as a concern.
I've heard some organizations have said that after they have created the vaccine mandate, that it actually proved to be a recruitment tool, that there are enough people out there that would prefer to work in a fully vaccinated environment, that if you could say, hey, we're vaccine required, going to actually be something that would attract new employees to your program. And I mean, we clearly have way more than the majority of people vaccinated. So it seems would be desirous of that. But so many of these things are things that we don't have any real experience to like predict. We've never been through anything like this. We haven't been through a pandemic. Who knew that we were going to end up in this whole unvaccinated class of citizens of our country that are choosing to believe things from their friends, on Facebook instead of the.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, you mentioned earlier, I've been here 3 years. Literally half my time at NuPath has been this kind of Groundhog Day pandemic thing we're doing. So yeah, it's strange.
That's awful. Well, I want to get this behind us as soon as possible. So you can have some different experiences, because
I'm still here.
You're still here. You're still here. People. I think it was last week that ADP had their annual meeting. Yeah, maybe I talked about this already, but I was wondering whether or not there are people who were going to show up in person. I'm on the board, but we did have quite a number of show up, and everybody. It's one of those things where in the morning when I was setting off to hit traffic and had to drive down 128 to get on the Mass Pike to drive out to Natick or wherever it was, Framingham, I was like, nobody, I felt like maybe I would prefer to do everything in my life in Zoom. But once I got there, and it was just so nice to see people face to face, and it almost felt normal, like for a split second, and if you think about where we were a year ago, we didn't even know anything about a vaccine yet. I mean, things are pretty grim. So we're definitely making progress. But how is the testing going for you guys up there?
Testing's great. I actually just talked to Sharon before we went on the air, and we had one person that's on vacation, but everyone else was tested today, no issues. So we're doing well.
So aside from staff, or maybe that's the big thing, what else do you see as being outstanding priorities or concerns or needs that you have as you try to manage this important program with limited, staffing and all under the guise of this, pandemic still hovering and testing and all the rest?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot but I think it all really does tie into staffing. When you get a full complement of staff in here, then we can do some more dynamic programming in the community and get things moving. And it's really a ripple effect. And once we get the staffing in place and get people comfortable with what they're doing and oriented to the program, we should be able to take off running. I think I mentioned to you last week when we talked that we've started cleaning the Elks again and have volunteers going to the Elks 2 days a week. It's setting up for bingo, breaking down, cleaning. It felt really good to get that going and really kind of normalizing to have that activity happening again. So we're getting there.
Well, Brian Calnan, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. You're fantastic. We're so grateful for your steady hand at the wheel up there, and for providing a safe and great program for people to come to and staff to work in. Really appreciate all you're doing and done for us.
Thank you very much, Dan.
All righty. Talk to you again soon.
Absolutely.
All right, the third guest we have today, we will see if we are going to be lucky enough to get her. Of course, it's another person that has a familiar face on NuPath Live. I don't hear Greg in my ear telling me that she's not available, so maybe she's right there. She is Amy Modesir. We will bring her on now. And there she is. Amy.
Hi, Dan.
You've just come from an ISP meeting, so this has been a hectic afternoon for you, right? You feel like you're like in a newsroom someplace, like you're running from one thing to the next.
No, it just seems like a normal day at NuPath for me. Very busy, very exciting.
Your steps in, that's for sure. I know you do. You run around like a crazy person, not like a crazy person, like a graceful, competent person that just is running around a lot.
That's okay, Dan.
That sounds a little bit better. just quickly, not that, and people are probably sick of this because, like Elder, you've been on many, many times to talk to us, but you have been with us 7.5 years. Of course, the Club Dynasty member, Club 50 Dynasty member, raising over 11,000. It's huge money. We've seen you with some of your kids and your grandkids, and feel like we've gotten to know your family. And most of us have heard the story about your hire to NuPath. Now you're running the show or helping James run the show at New Boston Street. How are things going? Where are you with your census and people back and staffing? We've got about 5 minutes left to talk. Why don't you just kind of give me a few updates and tell us where you are?
Sure. So overall, things at New Boston are going very well. We have about 91% of our staff are vaccinated.
That's great.
And yes, it's very exciting. We have approximately on a daily average basis of 130 plus individuals coming into program. And we're doing the same as the other programs, where temperature, hand sanitizing, mask wearing, and keeping our activities going. So we're being a little more creative with that to ensure we're not having a lot of cross contamination. Right now, we keep getting staff back. We just recently had a staff come back who had been out for quite some time, and the excitement from the people we support to see her come back is why we do this, and it's the connections that we make, and it was just really wonderful to see, and she is so happy to be back.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. That's so great.
Yeah.
So you still have some unvaccinated staff.
We do.
And I was asking, Elder, whether or not he thought he would have staff leave if we do go that route, making it mandatory. I know that you have had, I know for a fact, because I talked to the mother, somebody who was keeping her daughter home for a period until she could establish whether or not the staff that were working with her daughter were vaccinated. What are you thinking about that?
I think that's really going to be a tough one because there's so many different views on the vaccination. But I think when really push comes to shove, the people who work here just love what they do, and they, in the long run, are going to want to do what's best for those of them around them because they care so deeply for the people that we support.
Mm-hmm. Now, we've been testing regularly. You've been doing that too down there.
Yes.
We did have our first case of somebody that was tested positive. It was a breakthrough case. I'm surprised it's taken us this long to find that, but it proves that the vaccine works very well. But because of the way you structure things, he was part of a cohort. That group then was going to quarantine for a period of time, but they were protected from cross-contaminating other groups. Did it work out the way you planned it to? Did it?
Yes, it did. It really did. It was that one cohort that had to be closed for a few days for those that were vaccinated, and those that were not stayed home for the quarantine time. And it did work because, like you said, we are all getting tested weekly, and the following week we did not have any positive cases. So it does work.
That's amazing. So if parents out there wondering whether or not our procedures are working well, then they are.
Yes.
Amy, you are always just a source of joy for me. You always have a smile. I know that you've got so many special relationships with the staff, your colleagues, families. You mean so much to NuPath, and thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule to talk to us.
Absolutely.
I don't know how many more major events and big meetings you have the rest of the day, but I will leave you to it. Thank you so much for being on NuPath Live.
Thank you for having me, Dan. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from these guys. These are the directors that are making it happen on the front lines. This is and continues to be, a source of let's see, angst. I think about, sort of big picture things a lot, and how the decisions that we're making are having impact on the health and well-being of our families, of our clients, of our staff, who it's my job to keep everybody safe to the best of my ability. And I'm really feeling as the vaccine is going to do that. So stay tuned, but you've got just a few more days to qualify for the bonus. And then after that, no more carrots. All right, everybody. I will see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we got this. Bye, guys.